Hello, how are you? We're just going to talk into that camera.
Yeah,
it's really easy. You just finished your game, you wrap up. How's it gone?
Quite early on. Yeah, it's good. We got some quite good matchups actually. So we sort of went into the games thinking that, you know, me being death, 2 vampires, not really many bodies, I had to avoid the eels. So just mortal wounds.
There's quite a lot of eels here this weekend.
A lot, yeah. So I think we've got quite a nice mix of teams. Our selection is quite good. We've got Laurie with his Winter Leaf, so he's just board control. We've got Daughters of Cain. I'm playing Legion of Blood with just double dragons and reapers, and then we've got a Seraphon all shooting list. So if we got the matchups right, we should be okay. I got drawn against Colin, lovely guy, but he's playing a Horde Beast of Chaos list, so just best to go everywhere. It's total commitment, so he can't ambush. He has to just go at me, and I just shielded some stuff off. So, Dire Wolves being the best battle line in all of Sigmar. Hands down.
Always.
Yeah, so
you got a corpse cart on your list as well?
yeah, I have, and a Balewind.
And how's the corpse cart?
Amazing.
Yeah?
Amazing. Every single game.
Best charity in Age of Sigmar.
Definitely. Yeah. 80 points is just amazing. For a support piece, it's got 3 functions. You get to re-roll invocations within 6. +1 to your save for your dogs, and +1 to cast for all death wizards in 18 inches.
For 80 points.
For 80 points.
Yeah.
So he just sits there. I've got 2 necromancers, so one of them casts a Balewind, so then I've got 24 inches for Van Hells or debuff spells. Got another one there for another debuff spell. Then a Flying Vampire Lord, who's just been awesome as well, just kicking around with 5 attacks.
An ethereal one, obviously.
And the Ethereal Dragon.
Oh, right, yeah.
Who's -1 to hit in combat. So.
Okay, yeah, really good, really solid. So, you obviously you guys thought a lot about team composition. Do you have do you have a name for your list? Are you attack or?
Yeah, so I think that's my role is just high damage basically. So I can, there's a few death builds that you can make. Really tends to be the Gash or Zombie Dragon and just hordes of stuff. Laurie plays board control so well, so for him, he's got movement, teleport shenanigans. Seraphon do exactly the same. The Daughters list we've got is Calibron, so they've got all the teleporting. So my role is just to go in against something and just smash it to pieces.
Oh, wow, so everything else is all movement. But then, so then your weak matchup, like you said, Eels, is it something that can actually do that job but better?
Yeah.
So your job but better.
Yeah. So my list does have a couple of flaws. I've dropped 2 or 3 units of little dire wolves. So I used to have a 10-man, a couple of 5-mans, just to screen off everything. For my Masters list, London Masters list, that's what I used and it worked for me. But this list was tweaked a little bit just to go and smash stuff. So it does have more flaws than a traditional build, but it's a team event. So if we get the matchups right, I just go in and smash stuff.
It's really interesting, the matchup mechanic, right? That you kind of like the weaknesses that you maybe actually purposefully put in the list are orientated to be like a strength in the right, although if the cards go wrong.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I think Laurie's in there loving it. As soon as the round starts, he's dancing, he's got his cards out, he's like flipping them on the table. So that's his thing.
That's his mojo.
Yeah, so he's got his spreadsheets, he's got his list analysis, he knows exactly what he wants to put us against, and I just let him do it and just go smash stuff. So.
Oh, great! That's good. You're just a big hammer they brought in.
Yeah. Well, game 1, because we played. So game 1, I was kind of thrown under the bus. It was Daughters of Cain, Hagnar. All of the other matchups kind of favoured each other, and I didn't really want to play them. They're quite tough. They've got mortal wounds. They've all got the barbed bucklers. So I go in and kill them with dragons, and then just do mortal wounds back to me. Didn't really fancy the matchup, but played out my shoes in the end and got a major out of it.
Oh, so, congratulations!
Yeah, so we got first game we got 2 majors, a minor, 2 secondaries. So 85 out of 100 points,
which is not bad.
It's not bad.
Not bad.
And we've missed all the big boys, so. We'll catch them later.
Yeah, we did the round analysis earlier, and we were saying that like one of the nice things. Well, a lot of people don't want to do the straight 100, and they want to just slowly build up, which I think is quite interesting actually. Have you got? Obviously, you guys want to do well. Outside of yourselves, who do you think has got the chance of winning the tournament?
I think the Marauders A team are up there. So Tony Moore, Tom Worsley, Nige. The winners are a little bit concerning for me as well. It's quite a strong list there, obviously. It's good meta stuff, isn't it? Like it comes around. So I played against Jack Armstrong's list at London Masters, and my God, can that thing shoot?
They can shoot.
40 Arcanauts, the Hurricane, and I get anywhere near his list, and he just blows me up. So it's good. I mean, he lost his first game because the matchups didn't quite go his way.
Yeah, it's a little bit more polarising, especially in the team format, because you can go shut that down. right, which I find quite interesting. Yeah, really, really cool. So, so you think that those are the two teams that have got the option? What do you think about? So. What do you think about so a bunch of people from other countries coming over and playing?
Yeah, awesome.
Like, are you excited about that?
Such a cool thing, yeah. Because I came. It's my first ever team event as well. So last year I came and just helped out Mark as a stand-in. So we were a Dogs of War team. So we just had to fill a whole team.
Oh,
so
cool.
The night before I wrangled together 3 other players. We just came in with whatever we had and just got absolutely nailed on all weekend. But the atmosphere is cool. We played the Swedish guys. I think John was here last year. So yeah, playing those guys is awesome. Just meeting all the different players. And for me, it's quite a cool thing to really think about, because you play with your friends. It's a game you play with your friends locally, and that's cool. But then you get to the table against someone that's like halfway across the world. You've never met them before. You speak different languages, and you just play Sigma.
Yeah, it's really
fluent,
cool.
And it's such a cool thing.
So, yeah, like the Greek guys just playing, it's just really fun. Like, I met the French guys playing last year at one of the events. It's really nice, like starting to develop those, and the Swedish fellas obviously. So it's really cool that like you can like they go off to their countries, right? And then because we're all online,
exactly,
you can all talk to each other, which is really fun. High hopes for the weekend?
I hope so. Yeah, I didn't come in here with any expectations. I know there's some super tough players. Super tough lists. When those lists got released, there's some good stuff there. So I'm just here to have some fun, see what happens, and it's my last running for Legions for a little bit. I think I'm just going to really trigger people and say flesh eaters for for the rest of the year. But
as long as it's not Skaven, I'll be fine.
No, exactly.
Skaven are the one that genuinely. So of the new books, Flesh Eater caught Skaven and Blue Spike Gits. What are your feelings on them?
So Gits, I think, are just a really interesting book. I think it's quite balanced, actually. It plays very similar to what it did before. I think at the minute you're seeing lots of goblins, lots of nets, lots of debuffs. But, I played Donal at the Masters, that was really good. My brother Mark plays Gits all the time. So playing against him is quite interesting. My flesh eaters don't do too well against it, actually. There's a lot of stuff that's quite good against those new lists. Skaven are just Skaven. Just as a death player, hate them, absolutely hate them. So,
I think as a player, I hate them.
Yeah, that's fair point. It's just got everything that you need to deal with. I mean, you've said it a million times anyway. I've always said it. It's like you need shooting to take out Death, Daughters of Cain, Flesh Eater Courts, Nightborn, any key support units. You need some sort of shooting. And Death especially more to wound up, but Skaven has the answer to all of those things.
All day long.
It does. I think with the Skaven Flesh Eaters matchup, I quite fancy Flesh Eaters.
I think Flesh Eaters would win that fight because they're so good.
Yeah, so it's a lot of, it's a triangle thing, isn't it? Yeah. So I quite like it. I'm playing Flesh Eaters this season, so I'm going to try and do well with those guys. Came 10th at Sheffield with Gristle Gore.
You did.
To annoy everyone, so so I got the minor against Ben Curry in the last game.
I don't know if it annoys people. I think the thing about Flesh Eaters for me is which is a strength and a weakness. It's the obvious strength, which is then an obvious weakness for your opponent to go, well, I need to deal with X or Y. Yeah. I think there are loads of subtle choices as well. Don't get me wrong. I think mainly the mid-tier bracket of players, and I wouldn't consider you to be in those. I would say that. What happens is you tend to get some very, very good players, some medium players who have just got something that can just do stuff.
Yeah, just
play. It just does the thing. And then those kind of other mid-tier players are like, my do stuff doesn't do stuff as good as your do stuff. That's a terrible explanation. But I think maybe you understand. But they are strong, definitely.
I think because that's the thing. You look through the book. I did the same thing. I was like, right, Grand Courts. Let's hope they don't do a Ziflin on this and go through them all and go, right, what's playable? What can you actually do? The first thing you do is go to Gristle Gore. That's just stupidly good, isn't it? It's like that's the first take. So Slaughter, I had the book for 5 days. My shipment was delayed, so I got 5 days to write a list. Had no test games. I was like, well, didn't need them because Gristle Gore isn't that good. But all the lists I'm making now are the other stuff. So I'm trying to make Hollowmorn work and Blister Skin.
Yeah.
I think Flesh Eater is quite an interesting book because it is so command point dependent to make them that good that you tend to try and fit in battalions where you don't really need them. I mean, you get low drops plus an artifact, but then you take anything that helps you with CP stuff. So I took last night I had a practice game, I played Blister Skin, so you get a command point and a 4-up if your general's alive. Then I had the Brooch, which I fit in there as well. So I think by turn 3 I had 7 command points at my disposal.
Oh, wow.
So all my units just went in. I was like, right, double fight there, double fight there, double fight there, and it just works for you.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Gristle Gore's a struggle because to get the low drops you need. So I think Sheffield, I had 4 or 5. Every other Gristle Gore list, Tony's was very similar. All the others were very similar.
And what is it that makes you want to move towards a low drops count?
I mean, the missions definitely. Being able to dictate where you need to go as well. Also with Gristle Gore especially, because you have such a low model count. I mean, you have to take at least 1 mounted hero, otherwise don't play Gristle Gore. You definitely take 2 because you get a second command trait as soon as you get that battalion anyway. So by the time you've got those 2 in on a battalion, you have no models. So there are so many counter-attack forces out there, or Alpha Strike armies, that I would never want to play if I was playing anything more than 4 or 5 drops. Laurie's list particularly. It's like if you just play against that, you have 30 ghouls and 3 dragons. He just pins you in turn 1 and wins the game or scenario.
Yeah, so he swamps you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anything that can, I mean, eels. Beast of Chaos that can outdrop you, outflank, and get all the objectives.
And a movement 732.
Exactly.
I think that's what they settled on. Yeah. I just let them put them. I'm here now, and I'm like, that sounds fine.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, that is fine. So I think I think the game is at that stage now where you've got all of the different scenarios. You have different ways to play every single mission, and there are 2 or 3, 4, 5 top armies that can all Alpha Strike around ambush. So being able to dictate the first or second turn, it also kind of helps have 700 points to someone on turn 1. So
does it help?
A little bit, yeah. So being able to go, I've only got 30 ghouls, and then turn 1, I have 67 million ghouls. Yeah. So yeah, it's cool. I think
I like how you left that out in the you see, the problem is
weakness.
The problem is, and then. Don't worry.
So it's quite. I think it allows you to dictate stuff as well. So I played against Martin Clark, first game of Sheffield. We played Total Commitment. Obviously, everything has to be on the board. So I just deployed 10, 20 ghouls on one objective, left it, everything else down the other side. So his army was quite strong on the counter on this side. He had to start moving stuff across, and then turn 1 I said 700 points over on that side of the board. I went, well, what are you going to do now? You've moved all your stuff across. I've just summoned up 700 points, which is a small army in itself. 20 ghouls, 2 units of knights, plus a hero that just keeps them all regenerated.
Wow.
But you get Alpha Strikes, you lose the first turn, you lose all your heroes, and you lose all of it. So
yeah, that's a really solid point. Yeah,
and shooting. I think shooting will make a return. I think people will.
We've been saying that for a long time, though.
Yeah, but I think some armies just can't do it, obviously. But I think you'll just find stuff will start to come into lists a little bit more. So like Laurie's already starting to summon up bow hunters, which he hasn't touched in about a year and a half, just so you can just start sniping off those things.
It's finally more ballistas on the board than I've seen before, which is
nice. Judicators are back again, so but it comes around, because then what do you do against something else that you just shooting's useless and you need to fight them?
Yeah, I agree with you. It really does depend how prevalent it becomes, and it's always interesting watching different players play. Yeah. Really excited about being. I'm in Adepticon in 3 weeks, so I'm really excited.
That's going to be amazing.
I'm just excited to see how their army builds are different, or like the kind of quantities of X or Y. Yeah. A thing that kind of interests me all the time, I don't know if you've experienced this, is Slanesh seems to just constantly be doing well globally. Yeah.
They're always same thing. Yeah, there's always 1 or 2, and there's literally 1 or 2 at every event.
And doing good.
Yeah,
really interesting.
What do you think? Because they're a particular army as well that doesn't really have access to any shooting.
No.
So how do you think they can deal with stuff like Gristle Gore?
Well, I think they're in the environment. I think Skaven's a challenge for them, but I think they're in the environment of they do so well because everyone's fighting. I think if everyone stops fighting, then Slanesh is like, oh no, please don't shoot, don't shoot my guy. Whereas you're like, I'm gonna punch your guy, and they're like, sweet, this is my favourite. I love being punched. Super Slanesh. So I think that's interesting, but I didn't think that they were as good as they are, and they keep and I don't mind admitting that. Like, I can't get everything right all the time, and I often don't. So I just think I like watching those stats, especially across the globe, and seeing them do well, because I'm like, oh. That's interesting.
I think because they've got natural debuffs on all of their units, and the summoner mechanic is so good, like so good. I think people really underestimate that. Yeah, especially, I mean, this is the other thing, they're playing Flesh Eaters. Almost all of your units are 4, 5, 6, 7, or 14 wounds. So they just love it.
Yeah.
And then you heal them all back, and they love it even more. So they're racking up 40, 50. I think Dan George down at our club plays Slanesh, and he's at games where he's racked up 150. Depravity points.
Wow.
Just summons back in on Exalted, summons in 10 over here, 10 over there. And the ladies with the harps, what are they called? Enchantress?
Enchantress.
Yeah. So obviously you get to summon those in who are heroes, who can then summon off of themselves.
Which is actually one of the incredible strengths. You don't often see it, but things like Place of Arcane Power specifically, whenever you see Seraphon play, whenever they summon that cheeky skink star priest to go and win that game, you're like, oh, that's always so good. I really like that. It's really clever. Well, thanks very much. Appreciate that. And have a good weekend.
Lovely.